Well, hello and welcome to The Real Hernando. This is a podcast created to highlight our amazing local community and small businesses right here in Hernando, Mississippi. I'm your host, Derek, and this episode is brought to you by Shelby Road Productions. Today, I will be talking with Tina Tatum, owner of Coffee Central. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Coffee Central. Coffee Central is a full-service coffee house and a place where coffee and community meet. The restaurant features a full coffee house menu with a modest selection of moderately priced comfort foods, healthy lifestyle offerings, and prepackaged to-go items. Seasonal selections and regional favorites will be on a revolving menu that will change weekly. Coffee Central has 2 locations in DeSoto County. You can find the original location in the Snowden Grove, DeSoto Central District of Southaven at 5627 Getwell Road, and Coffee Central Squared, the newest location located in Hernando at 39 West Commerce Street. Mm-hmm. The hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Wow.
Yes, sir.
You give your staff that extra hour on Saturday.
Yeah.
Tina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
I always laugh when I introduce someone that way because I'm thanking you for being at your business.
Right.
Thank you for letting me be here is what I should say.
Well, thank you for coming to interview us. We really appreciate that. We love what you're doing in the community with your podcast and everything.
Oh, I appreciate
Very
that.
informative, yes.
Thank you. It's really cool how the word has got around with it, for sure. Mm-hmm. So now when I'm approaching people like yourself, it's not a, what are you doing?
Right.
It's, oh yeah, I'd love to be on it.
Right.
So
that's great.
Definitely
Good
helpful.
For you.
And you were absolutely on the short list, as I call it, when I start thinking about the businesses that I want to have on the show, which is all of them, quite honestly. Right. Yeah, that's what this is for, but it's like, I got to talk to Tina.
Oh, thank you.
I got to get Tina on there. So
appreciate that.
And I've been referred to you by all kinds of different people.
Oh,
So
good. Thanks.
So yeah. So
yay, it makes my heart happy.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about why everyone loves you here too.
Oh, thank you.
But we're gonna work our way up to how you started your business. But let's learn a little bit more about who Tina is. Okay. So where are you originally from? Yeah,
I've lived in DeSoto County my entire life. So 50 years. There you go. I just gave away my age.
Whoa.
So
that was my next question.
Yeah, there you go. We've lived in DeSoto County my entire life. Now, I've had other jobs where I've traveled, all over the country, but my address has always been in DeSoto County. We absolutely love. Yeah. Graduated from Horn Lake High School. So I'm an Eagle. Yeah, so went to Sacred Heart School when it was in Walls. Yeah. Went to Northwest and, Memphis State in the day, University of Memphis. So we kept everything pretty local here. We absolutely love this part of the country. My family's originally from Southern Louisiana. So I'm the youngest of 4, was the only one born up in this part of the country, this part of the South. But we absolutely love it. We have, I have 3 siblings. We were all involved in the kitchen all the time, always cooking, always family gatherings. So kind of hence led into what we ended up doing here at Coffee Central.
So you grew up in Horn Lake, and then
it was Walls at the time. Yeah, it's been incorporated into Horn Lake since then. But,
I see.
Everyone keeps incorporating out further and further.
They're just stretching out.
Yeah. We actually lived in Walls before Southaven or Horn Lake were incorporated. So it was pretty neat to see how much DeSoto County's grown and changed. At 55 in Goodman, it was 2-lane, and then not further beyond that, it was gravel all the way to Olive Branch.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And I was speaking with someone recently about Hernando's history, and wasn't too long ago, relatively speaking.
Right.
We're talking late 90s, where Hernando did not look like this.
Right, exactly.
And it's so great to see that development and people caring. Yeah. Like, let's clean this place up. Why? Because it's special.
It is. It's very special. Yeah.
So what bridged you, like after high school, what did that look like? Did you go to college, or you said did you leave, or did you go to Memphis?
No, stayed here right away at Northwest Community college. It's where City Hall of Southaven is now. The white building used to be the Northwest campus. So majored in marketing, sales and marketing there, and then finished out my degree in marketing with the University of Memphis State, then. And then, did some leadership classes with Cornell University and things of that nature. I went to work right away for Kraft Food Service right out of high school. Had friends that were in the food service business. And so the distribution side of Philip Morris Company. Now it's U.S. Foods. But worked there, through college. And when I got my degree in marketing, just, eased right into their marketing side of training, marketing, trade shows, events, and things like that. So that kind of molded me for my acumen with working with food in food service. We did back in the day before it was so easy to accessibly to make your own menus. We literally did copy and paste clip art. So we worked with a lot of the casinos coming in. They were new to Tunica. Worked with a lot of chefs and different restaurants developing menus and things like that. So that's what got me into food service in general. So
well, the marketing history really makes sense to me after following you and your businesses. On social media, you are definitely out there.
Yeah.
It's important. It's great.
Yeah, it's important.
And your face is out there too, which has been one of the motivating factors behind this podcast because some business owners aren't on the front, which is fine too. That's their prerogative, and this is to introduce them to the community.
Right.
But Tina Tatum, everyone knows Tina.
Good or bad, right? No, I'm just kidding. Well, because we lived here our whole life. And then my husband and I were also in ministry. I still are, but we were on staff at associate pastors at a local church. And I organized National Day of Prayer for DeSoto County for 10 years. So it's always the first Thursday of May. And we made sure that every, municipality in DeSoto County had an event going at noon on that day. So over the course of those 10 years, really made a lot of connections of just trying to bring people in, not just pastors, not just people that are in the clergy, but people in business, people in education, in government. If we're really going to pray and be believers, it's so important not to just be that in the church, but be who we are in the community. So I think that was huge and instrumental for us of really just sowing into DeSoto County for so long, working full-time job at that point in time for a medical device company.
Yeah.
So I'd come out of food service, work in the medical device field for 20 years, actually, just retired this past year out of that to do Coffee Central full-time.
You probably need to give yourself a little more credit than just because you've lived here so long.
Yeah.
What seems to me is you're a natural connector, a curator. You want to bring people together.
I do. I love that.
And I definitely want to, when we really start talking about your business, talk about how these different events you do,
yes,
the annual stuff, or and then your art history. So let's talk about that. So I've seen something about this art society that you're promoting. I'm sorry if I'm getting the title wrong on that.
DeSoto Arts Council.
DeSoto Arts Council.
Yeah.
So what's your history with art? Because we've talked about your marketing and your sales and your food industry work, but must have an art background.
Well, I don't, but my daughter does. So she's a junior. She'll graduate this December. So she's really the creative behind all of our aesthetic and our layout at the shops. Our branding, social media up until this year. And we have Michaela, she does a really great job of all of our posts now to help us stay, on point and current, and information out there a couple times a day on social media is really important. But our background in art is not necessarily as strong in art as it is in community and realizing the value. So my daughter's an art major. She's a graphic design major with a minor in entrepreneurship. So she has some marketing. She has that whole thing. My husband said, okay, you can go to a 4-year university, but you're not coming out with a degree in pottery. So we wanted her to still stay in her gifting of art, but come out with a real tangible trade where she can go to market with her, not just with what we do. Yeah. So from the very beginning, I think it's so important to surround yourself with people who are younger than you and who maybe have a hipper vibe or a closer touch on the pulse of what's going on. Of how to go to market. So, my daughter's 21. We started this when she was a senior in high school. And that's the first thing I asked, because the majority of people spending the kind of money you're going to spend in a local coffee shop, or we're hitting the 20, 30, maybe into 40. Now, our lunch menu, we have quiche and all that full offering. We may get, some coffee drinkers and the full lunch menu, but, the segment of the market that really carries a coffee shop. You're looking at from your teens up into your mid-40s, probably is where we're spending the majority of money.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that not just what my eyes and my thought process in marketing was, but what is the next generation doing? Where are we? Are we on, TikTok, Instagram? Facebook is hitting my generation and older.
Same here.
Yeah, so,
Same here.
just understanding the platforms of how to go to market with that. But the DeSoto Arts Council, I serve on the board there. My daughter and I wrote a book, a mother-daughter devotional, a few years ago. So it's in the shop there, and she actually won DeSoto County High School Art. I forget the name of it, but they do an annual scholarship for a certain amount of money, and she won that when she was in high school and a senior. And so I really appreciated everything the Arts Council was doing to make it free opportunities for the community, for our kids to get engaged in the arts. And so when I was asked to step onto the board, it was just, a natural thing to do. So like you said, I'm a kind of a natural community organizer. So, we have the Arts Festival coming up pretty soon. By the time this airs, it'll probably be over. But the Arts Council sits there all the time with these wonderful free gallery to come in and take a look, events that go on all the time. So it's just so important. I serve on the Southaven Chamber of Commerce board. I think it's so important in not just business, but in life. We're not just here to take. Like, I didn't come here just to set up shop and say, come to me, we have the best coffee. Yeah. But, what can I do to help make our community better? Where is there a need that we can serve? And give of our time back into the community.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
Again,
it is.
I'll keep saying it. That's why I love Hernando.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
So let's paint a picture of where we're sitting, because when you mentioned your daughter helped, design or whatever, is she responsible for this grass behind us?
Yeah, the green wall.
So we are
the neon.
So we're at Coffee Central Squared location. And this would be you have two rooms in the back. You have one that's called the study room and the one that's social room, right? So we're in the social room. We're sitting in the little, what would you call
chairs.
them? The egg chairs, if you call them. So anyone that's been here before, they know exactly what we're talking about here. Yeah. But it's really cool how you have outlets and you have internet here and USB charges. But this wall is always great, and unfortunately we can't get it in the full camera shot, but you got Coffee Central and bright lights over here on the grass. So was this her kind of idea?
Yeah, it was her kind of idea. We just wanted to create a lot of different landing spots where people could sit, we could have conversation here, but then that's also, my marketing mind goes to, where are they going to snap a picture and post it? That would be kind of, I hate to say iconic, but identified, with our space. Like everybody would know, that's Coffee Central seating space, whether they checked in or not. And then we have a different neon sign, same kind of lettering in Southaven. Okay. And we're getting ready to have a really cool setup there with our expansion happening there. So,
well, let's go back to that. We'll circle back to the expansion. Yeah. So what I'm interested in now is that pivotal moment. Well, we're going to start bridging to why you even started a business. Okay. How old were you? What year was it around? But then what was that thing that just pushed you in that direction? What was that story in your life?
So I would say I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Like, I've never been afraid of taking a risk. Yeah. There is never a lack of money in the world. It's just a lack of where it's flowing to and what's happening. So I think that's my marketing background of understanding, supply and demand and how monies move and change hands. So just thinking about what could we do as a family, especially after I'd been 20 years in medical device, a company which I love, Medtronic Spinal and Biologics was really good to us as a family, was there 20 years. But then all of a sudden one day I was 47 years old, so it's never too late, to launch out into the deep. So I was 47 years old, and some friends of ours owned Coffee Central in Southaven, and they just had a life change. She was pregnant, her husband was traveling internationally at the time, and just didn't have the wherewithal to take it to the next level. And I don't think that I would have ever started a local coffee shop from the ground up. Like, I wouldn't have walked into an empty building and understood all the machines and everything. So I knew food. I love coffee, but I didn't know coffee. Right. So we really went to work on being trained, understanding the whole process from the farm to the cup, and really working hard to become a third wave coffee offering in DeSoto County. So the reason why we started that was that situation was happening at the same time that everywhere we traveled, we would look on Yelp for local coffee. We would look on Yelp for the local brunch places to go. Where's the local bakeries? Anywhere we traveled. So we were sitting in Nashville at the at the factory in Nashville, and I was looking at this little coffee shop, and I was like, if I ever did this, I was always the if ever. And so the coffee shop became available in Southaven, and my husband said, if ever you're going to do this,
there it is.
You're not getting any younger, right? So we just decided just to take this big step, and I continued to work full time for the first 2 years, and run one shop, and then we were quickly invited within 6 months to come to Hernando. Our original location was over on Highway 51 in the front of Side Alley Gifts. We're forever thankful for Kim Derryberry. She invited us to come down and, and just feel the waters. And we knew Hernando was our place number 2 we wanted to get to right away. We just didn't know it would be within the same year.
Yeah, that's pretty rapid growth.
Yeah, it was. And then so we were there through October to October, and then October right in the middle of COVID. So October 2020, you interviewed Heather not long ago.
Yes, this was Ladybug.
This was
right?
Ladybug, and Heather had sold to Megan. And, in the restaurant industry, and even to a certain degree, COVID was really difficult. A lot of people didn't make it through. We were down to 75% occupancy, down to 50% occupancy, mask required. We actually had to close the Hernando shop before we moved here for an entire month. We just couldn't sustain it. Just closed it, and we focused on Southaven, and we did curbside for an entire 2 months. We just ran coffee out. We were considered a necessary business unit because we supplied not just coffee, we supplied food, for people. So, it's had its challenges, but when this house became available, that's what really struck me. There are not many buildings and properties like this in DeSoto County because, Hernando's our county seat. It's been here, 100 plus years. I don't know, a couple hundred years. This house is 100 years old. Wow. And so when it became available, it was still in the middle of COVID, but I said, if we're ever going to have a space that has this beautiful patio that is going to have the vibe and be really a place of coffee and community, like now is the time. It doesn't matter what's going on. We've got to get the building. Yeah. And so that's when we bought out the assets of Ladybug at the time. Not the name, not the recipes, because no one's ever going to do that like Heather, but the space. So we got first dibs on the lease because we bought that out. And here we are. We just came and put our spin on it. Brought in our coffee bar. We built out the beautiful coffee bar out there. Yeah. We're not a bakery, like Ladybug was, but we do have some really great food. The full service kitchen is open 10 to 2. So we try to just give, a little bit of everything. We bring together, we want to be the after school spots for students. We want to be, where the ladies come, or we have people that walk off the square, when there's court going on, and have lunch here, and you can walk back to the courthouse.
So when you first jump into this, let's go back to Southaven, and your husband's like, hey, it's right here in front of you. Right. What was that first year like? Because it's, food, you're learning coffee. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were able to jump ahead and not have to open a fresh place and buy equipment separately. You bought it all, templates there. But you're running a business. Yep. So that's trial by error. Yeah. You can go to school forever on running a business. It's different when you finally start one.
Absolutely.
So what was that journey like?
So immediately after we negotiated with the previous owners, I went to work on my marketing plan. So my business plan, my marketing plan. Right? I know, right? So what would be sustainable? How many cups of coffee? What would we need to do per month? And my original projections were in the first month that we would triple the business.
First month?
Yeah, like the first year, like right out of the gate, I knew we would triple the business. And here's why. It's not because of anything that we were going to do. It's because we would go to market with marketing and a really, just solid branding package. We expanded our food offerings. We immediately expanded the hours. So it was, I think, 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. Well, people that are real coffee drinkers, if they're getting off work and want to go plug in and work, they're not even going to try to stop by if you close at 5. Yeah. And then originally Southaven closed at noon. Well, millennials and all, they're not even getting out of bed on Saturday till noon to go have coffee. So we originally, the first year, we were open till 8 p.m. during the week and 9 p.m. on Friday and Saturdays. And we immediately brought in the community. So how we did that was we have a thing called Coffee with a Cause, where we do music nights. And it really brings together the platform of the musician, their following, the nonprofit that we benefit for the night, and then our platform. So you have this beautiful synergy that brings together all platforms. And so we would have packed houses. for music nights. And honestly, we were the only, and I'm not bragging about this, but we were the only third wave coffee shop in DeSoto County. We would always, if we wanted good coffee, we would go to Memphis. If I wanted pressed juices, I would go to Memphis. If I wanted acai bowls, which is our number one food selling item, if I wanted acai bowl, we would go to Memphis.
That's how you say it.
Acai.
I've never known how to pronounce that.
I go, acai.
Acai.
Yeah, if you wanted all that. So again, my marketing mind is, why are we allowing all this revenue to go across the state line? Mm-hmm. And what am I leaving my hometown for that I need to go get? What can we offer to Southaven, Hernando that's not already here? That people are driving to Memphis, or they're driving, somewhere else. They're not spending their money in DeSoto County. So we immediately expanded the menu when we opened to have those items. And we went to serious school on coffee. So we had an amazing team then. These things don't happen with one person. So you're interviewing me, but it's really a credit to our amazing team. We had a couple people that stayed on with us. They've since moved on to other things, but they knew coffee. They helped us really get established and get started. And then our roasters, we use all locally roasted coffee. They came in, I said, I need your best. I need to be trained. I want our people to understand, again, from the farm to the cup, the roasting processes, the processing, whether, it's a natural process or a washed process. What difference does that make in the outcome of the bean? How do we properly, the ratios of the grind versus the time and the water temperature, how all that works together to make a difference in a cup of coffee. So I really felt like it was a huge stewardship that steps all the way back to every hand that has touched the bean, to the local farmer. Like, are we doing justice to what ends up in this cup, to their life of this small farmer that's all they're doing, is they're picking the coffee cherry. And from that moment, are we being good stewards of it until it gets into the consumer's hands? So that's what I needed to learn.
You're supporting a local
right.
small farm.
Yeah, we're not big box by any means, but the roasters that we use are all local. J. Brooks, Dr. Beans, Vice and Virtue, Ethnos 901, Coffee Black. We've just recently expanded to Onyx, which is out of Arkansas. And then we have, some other we're honing it in now to bring some more Mississippi roasters into the process. But I needed to know that the process was as organic as possible. I needed to know that, the roasters that we were working with were producing a product that was extremely consistent, and that was going to be within the guardrails of what we could work with to produce a consistent product, for our customers. So
it's funny, you often hear the term farm to table. Mm-hmm. I've never heard anyone say farm to cup.
To cup, right.
And now the way you just kind of painted that picture and explained it, that's great, because it's we'll always hear about organic food. Mm-hmm. That's definitely been out there for a long, long time. Yeah. How to eat fresh,
how to eat well,
eat well, eat local, but you never think of doing that with a coffee bean.
Right.
And that's really cool. So, how long was that period where you were just basically becoming a chemist in a way?
Yeah, it's still going on. Yeah. I think we're lifelong learners.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We'll have cuppings. We'll have one that come up with when we expand. We've had a few here. We have some local coffee educators that will come in on not only just the growing and the roasting and the process of the beans, but how we can make really great coffee from, espresso, or if you just have a coffee pot, that's what we call drip brew, all the way, to doing pour overs, French press, and things of that nature. So how do you get the right formula? The ratios is what we call it. And the right grind size to make sure you're getting just, every bit of taste out of that bean that we can. Now, if you like a white chocolate mocha, more power to you. We'll make that as well.
Yeah.
But we really love, and we train our baristas to be able to talk to the community about coffee. So we want to, if we have an Ethiopian, is it a natural process or a washed process if we're doing a pour over? If someone comes in and orders a pour over or a cortado, a more traditional coffee drink, then they know coffee. So we want to be able to speak, I'm not expecting every single person we hire to be, a expert in coffee right away, but we have a continual learning process that we're trying to bring before our team, so that, the aspect of coffee and community is not just, hey, let me serve you coffee and hang out at our space. We also want to educate and be able to have a conversation, It's why we'll, at this point in these locations, we'll never have a drive-through. Personal interaction is super important for us. And you take that away. We say we want to be the Cheers of coffee. When everybody knows your name and your drink, when you walk in the door. And
I would love to be Norm.
Yeah, Norm!
Yeah.
That's funny. We have two guys sometimes. We're like, Norm. They're here every single day. They order the exact same drink every day. Our baristas may see someone pulling in and they go ahead and grab the cup and start making their drink because they know what they're going to have. On occasion, we'll get surprised, but that aspect is, it can make all the difference in the world for just someone to remember your name.
Absolutely,
To make eye contact, like, how are the kids? How are things going? And, I can't expect everyone to be type A, over the top personality like I am, but we try to do a really good job in our hiring process to make sure that people that we hire on first love people and love to serve. They have to like coffee, but we can teach you coffee. Yeah. I can teach you how to work in the kitchen, but I cannot teach a passion for genuinely loving this community and wanting to serve people. So.
I agree. In my hiring days, I can teach you the ins and outs, but I need someone that can communicate well.
Right.
And some people, no offense to them,
right,
are just not communicators.
It's just not their skill set,
Their skill set, right? So that's kind of what I do too. But so you make it sound so easy. Clearly when we hear the story, how quickly you've just made this successful 2 locations. Aside from COVID, though, what was that first real challenge that really kind of put you back on your heels? And if there even was one, what was that moment outside of COVID?
I was going to say COVID is the it's the pink elephant in the living room, right? I think outside of that is just managing. For myself personally, I have 2, but the first one was managing work and life. So to be able to put the phone down when I got home, that first year my daughter was a senior in high school, and then right on the heels of us opening, we were full-time caregivers for my husband's parents. So we were just transitioning out of all that. My husband travels a good bit with his job, so he's my sounding board, the business back behind the scenes, but you don't see him a whole lot out front because he's on the road a lot. But I think the biggest one was, for me personally, was balancing work and life, because I have a tendency to be workaholic. Yeah. Things will come into my mind at 12 o'clock at night, and I'll jump over and grab my phone, just put it in my notes, so I don't forget.
I know that misery.
Yeah, you're always thinking, and I don't realize it. We'll go out as a family somewhere, and I'm just like, I'm taking a look at what's happening, or, I'm engaged, like I'm immediately into it from the business perspective when I'm just supposed to be out having brunch with my family, So I had to realize how to disconnect myself from the business. So that was a huge challenge the first year. And then staffing. I think staffing was a huge challenge. And it's not that we didn't have great staffing. It was learning how, because I was a manager in customer service for a number of years before my role changed with Medtronic. So I was always a people manager, but it's different managing people from a corporate environment where they're in a call center and talking to customers over the phone versus having people face-to-face, a brick and mortar. Yeah. And so making sure that we had the right face that represented the Tatum family, because that's huge as a local business owner, and Coffee Central, and our belief in loving people and serving people first, that we're here to serve, not to be served. So that was huge for us, is to make sure that we had the right people in place and taking a step back and not being rushed just to fill a spot. And we made some mistakes. We found out some things that were not good fits, and it was okay. It just, like you said, it was nothing personal. It just was not the right fit.
And it's part of the learning process, the growing process.
It is.
That's how you get better. Again, you just jump in, and running a business is learn as you go.
Yeah.
You can't.
Right. And then having the margin in the business to be able to bring a level of management in. So I was everything. So I was hands-on everything. Where now we've grown to the place where we have Jamie's our general manager here. We have a bar manager here, and we have team leaders and a bar manager in Southaven, where I can put someone between me and the rest of our staff, and between me and the customers sometimes. So I, can work on the business and not have to be in the business so much, because it's just as important. We've got to work in the business, but we've got to work on the business of future growth, making sure that, that we're getting the best price. We're doing cost analysis, our faces in the community. We're able to take a look at what our donations are this quarter. And so it's super huge to me. So the second year after COVID, we'll skip over COVID. Once we got past that and got in here, then the Lord just really blessed us with really tremendous people that had experience, but just caught the vision of what we wanted, who we are, and what we wanted to do. And it's given me the freedom to work on the business so much more than you'll see me behind the bar or in the kitchen. Today I'm in the kitchen, and Saturday I'll be in the kitchen all day. And then we have like 3 events off site, and we'll make sure it gets going. But you'll see me, 3 or 4 days a week. I'm at the place now where I can work on the business and be at things like the Arts Council. I can serve on the, Southaven Chamber. And so it frees up my life. So that still goes back to the right people.
Yeah.
So those are some, I always say that, and even our management team, our leadership team, I'll tell them, look, coffee is easy, people are difficult. And I don't mean that ugly, like people are mean, difficult. It's just it's
dynamic.
It's a dynamic. There's a challenge. We're not all coming from the same place. Maybe in a we're not in the industrial age where my dad and mom worked for the same businesses for 30 and 50 years. People don't do that anymore. So we're in a whole different generation of people. So, learning and training a leadership team that really looks to care just as much about our team as we do about our community. So there's a balance there for doing that. So that's probably been the biggest challenge, because I passionately care about our people and I want them to succeed. I realize coffee is not a lifelong game for everybody. For the most part, it's just a stepping stone in a season of people's life. They'll work here through college. Maybe they're taking a gap year. Our managers, I feel like they're in it for the long run. But for the most part, we are in a constant every 6 months to a year, and then in between that, every 3 months, the other 6 months to a year is turning. So we're in this constant training process with people.
Yeah.
So.
If you find the people that buy in and see the vision, then you'll have a workhorse. They feel a part of it. They sense of ownership. But I can attest, when I first started coming here, probably a year and a half ago, I was sitting in this room. I would come here, get my coffee, get the chicken salad wrap.
Thank you.
Which was next level. And it was you, many times, delivering the food to me, but you had a mask on. So it was months.
Before you knew?
And then one day I was like, oh, that's what she looks like.
My hair was up and had on a mask. Yep, that was the wonderful COVID days. And we we adhere to all the CDC and our state health department guidelines for that. So our team was so excited when they could take those masks off. It gets hot in the kitchen.
Oh, I can imagine.
It gets hot, and we have food safety guidelines anyway. We're always wearing gloves, always doing that. And we have a super strict if you don't feel well policy, because no one wants to hear someone with a cough or nasally working the register, handling their food. So so it was difficult for a little bit. And those were the days. We were right in the hardship of COVID.
Yep.
We never actually did refill this room with as many tables as what it could handle, because I didn't realize how loud it was going to get in some of these rooms. When the place is packed, it's loud in here.
Well, it's a 100-year-old house, so it has the hard walls, and it's just echoey hardwood floor.
We tried rugs, but they got coffee spilt on it, so we just whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why we separated the study and the community, the social room. You could do anything anywhere, but it's just kind of like, hey guys, if you're going to be a little rowdy, come on in here, and let's let people who are studying maybe hang out over there. At lunchtime, it's open game to everyone. So
So let's talk about events.
Yes.
Let's talk about all the different things that you do through a year.
Okay.
I would gather there's some regular annual stuff or biannual, whatever it may be, but definitely run through anything that you would like to promote right now as far as the different events that you hold.
Right. So we publish it monthly. There's a board out front, and we'll publish it on social media, but we have at least once a month, we have live music here. And again, we call it Coffee with a Cause, where we bring together. And then we have a local singer-songwriter night, which we absolutely love. It is so much fun. Sometimes it's in here if the weather's not so good, but we have that amazing side yard here in Hernando. We've strung up the lights out there. When the weather's nice, we have cornhole set up out there. So our music nights, are huge. We have tonight, for instance, is prom for Hernando. So we try to do some things that really reach the community and give them an opportunity to, stop by their favorite coffee shop. So we'll have a balloon arch set up outside. We've got a lady come with a photo booth to snap pictures, give them another place, another something to do on their night out. So we try to do stuff like that as well. We do Dickens of a Christmas in November. We participate heavy with that. It's a fabulous event that happens all around the city of Hernando, where we offer a high tea. We're actually going to have to move off-site. We had such a huge response to it last year. So Dickens of a Christmas is coming up the second weekend of November. So that's a little far out. But right now we're about to launch into, and by the time this airs, is Farmers Market. So Farmers Market in Hernando is my favorite thing that happens in Hernando.
It's pretty epic.
It's epic. I say it's my favorite because it lasts such a long time. So there's events that go on throughout. Hernando has so many great festivals and 5Ks and 10K runs. But Gia at the city, and they do such a great job with the Farmers Market. We'll walk down there, we'll grab our strawberries when they come in season with Jones Orchard. The strawberries we use here will come off the market. Yeah. A lot of the things with the tomatoes. Our BLT will have the tomatoes from the farmers market on it. But we also set up a booth out there where we sell iced and hot coffee, but it's really not about selling product. We just like to be out there and talk to the community. Yeah. So for the first year my husband and I did every Saturday, on the farmers market, just to establish ourselves that, hey, we're just right down the road. We have a new space down the road. But, just to get to know the community. So we love farmers market. And then what else do we have here?
Are you going to be there every Saturday again this year, or is it?
Yep, every Saturday. So we're back where we're staffed really well. So I may not be there every Saturday, but I've already got our team lined up to be there. Now, when you get into the heat of July and you're in crop changes, so, the spring and summer, by end of July, you don't have the fall produce in yet. You hit a little bit of a peak there around 4th of July and the beginning of August, and then you're right back into it September, October with the fall harvest. But you always have the fresh milk and meat, that are there all the time. So we love being a part of that. So that's a pretty big deal. And then we do all the time, we'll have coming up a Mother's Day, mother, daughter, sister, friend, we call it, because, not everybody has a mom that's still alive, and maybe not every woman has a child. So they're not a mom, but they have a sister or they have a friend. So we'll do a brunch, as well as we do charcuterie classes. My background in food service.
What was that word? Charcuterie.
What
is that?
Okay, so traditionally what charcuterie is, it's all cured meats. If you go to Europe, if you go to an authentic Italian restaurant, you're going to have, your pancetta, you're going to have just all these beautiful cured meats. But in our Western culture, and especially in the South, we have added all kinds of things to it. So we used to call it an antipasta tray or a meat and cheese tray, but charcuterie is the term now that kind of grabs people's attention. So it's basically a board, with your meats, cheeses, maybe some honey, crackers, olives, things of that nature. Just a nice little, snack board. So we teach people how to, pair the right cheeses with the, fruits or whatever, or what wine pairs best with what cheeses. And we have a fun little workshop, and they pay a ticket price of about $50 a person, and they get to come and, just have a little insight on grazing tables or boards for different times of whatever they're doing, Mother's Day or Christmas. And then they get to make their own board, and then they get to keep the board, and they restock it, and then we wrap it. So they get to take something home. Yeah. So it's super fun. It's just something we have this space, so why not use it for something that's creative?
And community and connecting.
Right.
That's the overall theme through this whole conversation is how you like connecting.
I
feel like you should do more. I don't think you're doing enough. But where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your 10,000 foot view, if you will, and without giving any information that you're not maybe ready to announce, but where do you see yourself? What's the future look like
in the next 5 to 10 years? So, and again, I don't know, but the Lord knows. But I would love to see our daughter, more actively engaged. Obviously, she'll be out of school. She has an internship this summer. She will eventually take, the leadership role, in the businesses. I do see us expanding further into DeSoto County.
Okay.
So we're in Hernando and Southaven right now. So we would like to go a little further east into Olive Branch eventually, and that's not a secret. Olive Branch. Our friends in Olive Branch are like, when are you coming to Olive Branch? When are you coming out? And since we're expanding in Southaven, we really thought we'd be in Olive Branch by the end of this year, but we're going to hold off. So we feel I'm not looking at franchising. I've had people ask us to come to Memphis. DeSoto County is what we're called to. This is home. So we want to expand just to cover our full county and then hone our processes and what we offer and make sure that we're sustainable enough that we can be here for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I don't want to dilute the product that we offer, and I don't want to dilute what our hands can handle and do. But, if we had 3 or 4 locations, across DeSoto County, I'd be super happy with that. And, just really working to make sure those are excellent, sustainable, and continue to keep a heart of a local coffee shop without, growing too big too fast.
Olive Branch would be perfect to balance it all out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we love Olive Branch.
3,
Yeah, 3
No Horn Lake, though? No hometown?
Oh, I don't know. We might. We'll see.
That's 20 years from now, right?
Well, I don't,
That's when your daughter owns the business, right?
when she wants to do that. We'll see. We love Horn Lake. There's a lot of opportunities. And, we grew up there. It's just, you've got to know your market. You've got to know the price point that the market can sustain for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
We're not a McDonald's $1 cup of coffee. Our average coffee price, unless you get black coffee, you're going to spend $5 to $7 on a beverage.
It's a premium price for a premium product.
It is.
It really is. I'm drinking a vanilla latte. Very delicious.
Thank you. I'm having a Goldilocks.
Yeah, and I notice, I'll see this posted too on your socials. The designing,
the latte art.
The latte art. Okay, I would have never thought of that term.
Right.
It's really cool.
Thank you.
Is that part of the training too?
Yeah, and it's kind of phase 4 or 5 of training because steaming milk is what it's about. So it's about the aeration or not over aerating the milk. And so it really takes a while to learn the consistency because you've got to hear how much air is going into it, the temperature of it. Some milks are easier to steam than others. So we have a few people that pick it up super quick. I've been in this for 3.5 years now, and my latte art is subpar. But our team, our trainers, Michaela here and Jasmine and Sean in Southaven, they do a really good job of just consistently working. When we don't have a customer, we want to be working on something related to coffee. So it's just a matter of the texture of the milk and then the right direction and how to pour it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I would not be good at that. So before we close this up here, where would you like to send anyone listening or watching this? We call it call to action. Websites, your socials.
Thank you.
Any place that people can find you and the business. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so our website is coffeecentralsouth.com.
Okay.
So we're in the South. Apparently there's more than one Coffee Central in the world, but there's only one Coffee Central South. And that's our LLC too. So coffeecentralsouth.com. From there you can find all of our social media platforms. But Southaven is Coffee Central CC, just Coffee Central and then our initial on all social media platforms. And then Hernando is Coffee Central Squared. We did that to differentiate. We were right there on the square, and it's our second location. So that's where you get the squared from. And, some people believe social media should all be lumped together. I like for us to show our separate events, people be able to check in at the separate locations. So that's pretty much it. Those two. Social media is so huge. And then, of course, at our physical locations, come out and check us out.
Yeah. So again, let me go over the locations again. So the Southaven one is the Snowden Grove DeSoto Central District area.
Yeah, it's on Getwell, right there next to DeSoto Central High School.
Okay.
Little shopping center.
Okay. And which is 5627 Getwell. And then right here in Hernando, right on Commerce Street, across the street from the post office and Commerce Street Market and and it's really cool. Look, there's plenty of drive-throughs. Earlier you're like, we'll never have a drive-through. Yeah. There's plenty of those. Yeah. It's okay if you don't, This is super unique. It definitely has a great atmosphere. I meet potential guests here for the podcast, for pre-interviews. Would you like to meet Central? Maybe the mayor, Chip Johnson, is going to be on the podcast. And maybe I met him here.
You might have.
Maybe. So talk about that community connection there.
Yeah, we love our mayor, board of aldermen, our county government. We do have that private meeting room upstairs. So
I
that's
didn't know
another.
about that.
Yeah, I have to take you up there and show it.
Okay.
So we have an upstairs room that's by reservation only because it is, a stairwell. So and we like to know who's up there, obviously.
Yeah.
But it seats 10 to 12. We do private parties. People are rented out or reserve it for board meetings. We just ask that you purchase food and beverage.
Sure.
It's a space sitting up there, unless it's a Sunday. Both spaces are available for full rental on Sundays, and then late on Saturday afternoons if you have a special event that's going to require us to shut it off from our other customers on Saturday, and then on Sundays. But one thing I did want to throw in here before I forget is we love this space, and it looks super busy all the time from the street. But I just want to challenge everyone to know we only have 12 parking spots, but we seat 44 people in the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there is parking up and down Center Street, behind us. So don't ever think, oh my gosh, you're so super busy, I'm not going to be able to get in and get anything. And we so much appreciate our customers who are willing to park, walk over.
I've parked on the street.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Yeah. Got to all park going east if you're on the street. So.
Yeah. I know when I first pulled out of here, I was like, is this a one-way? It was hard to tell what it is.
Well, we did have at one point, and we appreciate our city keeping us safe, but people were parking going the right direction, but both directions. But then you can only get one car up and down the back street. So we had to ask our community to only park on the east side, going east, so we can make sure it's safe for everybody.
Yeah, 'cause it's pretty tight.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Really tight.
But we love this space. We're so grateful to be here. We absolutely love Hernando, and it's home. I've lived in DeSoto County, but we live in Hernando now, and so it feels like home. Everything about it.
Awesome. Tina, such a pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you shared your story with me and the audience.
Thank you.
You're a force to be reckoned with. Absolutely.
You're so funny.
All the success coming your way is
Thank you.
deserved. And
thank you.
And the key is, I love how you're connecting people. And kind of just trying to figure out how to do that myself. But. Wow, your story is so busy.
Well, so thank you.
And it's awesome. So I appreciate your time here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
We're doing this during open hours, by the way.
Yeah.
So
we shut the door.
So she's probably ready to jump through this door here and go work. But again, thanks for being here, and I hope this connects with as many people as possible.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all you're doing. This is awesome to communicate what's going on in the community. So thank you so much.
You got it.
Thanks.
All right, so let me talk to the listeners now and viewers. Please share this episode. Let's spread Tina's story around, because as popular as you are, as many people that know you, not all 20,000 people know you.
No.
Not all 20,000 people know about Coffee Central. So spread the word. All you have to do is share the episode with a friend or family member, and that will mean the world to all of us here. Also, you can go to therealhernando.com, where you can find all the links to our socials, our episodes, and all the platforms that are on there. We provide this content in 3 forms: audio, video, and text. You can read this entire interview on transcript right on the website. And you have a free subscription on the website too if you want a newsletter to notify you when a new episode is out. Yeah. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, basically anywhere that you can find podcasts. And our socials, both Instagram and Facebook, are at The Real Hernando. Tina, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You got it.